I'm David Wojcik with another MBOT TV Zoomcast. Students want impact. Employers want talent. Too often they miss each other. Sheridan College's Employer Partner Program makes sure that that doesn't happen. In this episode, we explore how the Sheridan College Employer Partner Program is helping organizations connect with emerging talent, collaborate with applied research, and shape the future workforce. To help us with the discussion is Elizabeth Fabbroni. Elizabeth is the Dean of the Faculty of Applied Science and Technology at Sheridan College, where she leads programs, applied research, and industry partnerships that support Ontario's advanced manufacturing and technology sectors. Welcome, Elizabeth. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on the program, David.
Elizabeth, I have visited your facility in Brampton. Of course, Sheridan has campuses in Oakville, a massive one in Mississauga, and a very, very big one for applied sciences in Brampton. And the one time I was up there with one of our members, Paul Mayo from NTN Bearings, and he took me through a program that he had initiated with Sheridan College, which was called an Employer Partner Program. Help us understand what that program is about and how employers get involved.
Sure. Thanks, David. So just to set some context, a lot of folks are very familiar with the university system, and sometimes folks aren't as familiar with the different ways that the college system engages with the community. So just to set a little bit of that context, where universities are discovering and ideating new ways of doing things, the college is far more focused on helping to apply that learning and apply those ways of thinking within the community. And so we do that through a variety of ways, but as you've mentioned, the employer partnering opportunities that we have really allow us to take the best of the technologies and the approaches that we have and look at some of the business challenges that an individual employer might have and create that synergy, create that collaboration. And so, as a practical example, we work very closely with Magna and Unifor as two practical employers who we do work with. And part of what we do there is understand what labor force they're building towards. And we sit down and think about what are the key components of the programming that we need to alter in order to help achieve those goals. And sometimes that might be achieved through very practical ways with some of the traditional trades programming that we may have, or, we've got degree programs in engineering, a whole host of different programming opportunities. But then outside of those normal programming opportunities, we can co-create opportunities as well. So a few practical examples of that, we have had employer partners that say, I have this one niche thing that I need to teach. Can we come up with a way for you to do that for us? And so we'll work through those kinds of plans with them. We've had employers come in and say, I have to retrain 30% of my workforce. And we'll sit down and think about, what are the lateral opportunities for them to reskill some of their employees into other jobs, and what's the gap that we have there? How are they going to get that training? Can we support some of that training? Are there some specialized skills where we might have to build in some subject matter expertise? We can co-create these sorts of solutions with employers within the region. And so it really becomes very flexible in choosing these different ways that we can create those opportunities. So with employers, often the first thing we do is sit down for a bit of an intake to understand what their business needs are, and then start to talk about all the different unique ways that we can help support them and solve that problem. And depending on the size.
Elizabeth, I'm going to break in and ask you a question here because we know that with regular curriculum, the timeline from concept to being in classroom is a laborious task. And at the university and college level, to get these programs in place can take years. And when I ask employers, I say, so what talent do you need? What skills do you need 10 years from now or 5 years from now? So they're trying to give you 10 years out there. Then it takes the colleges and universities another 5 to 7 years to develop a program. How is the employer partner program streamlining that to get the training done today that's needed for businesses today?
So, two things. First of all, the general programming pathways have become much less long. So, I just want to be clear about that. So, even our normal programming development cycle is about 6 months right now. So, it's not going on for years, just so folks have the right current adaptation that we have there. But beyond that, with the employer programming process, it's not married to that traditional trajectory that you're describing. So we can very rapidly get a team together within a couple of weeks and have a suggestion for what that training should look like on your table within about a month. You sometimes it depends on the size of the training, whether it will happen at your site or our site. There are some practical realities that we work through with you, but oftentimes if it's just about enabling a subject matter expert to work with you and your team to retrain some of your employees, the timelines are extremely short relative to what you're describing there, David. And certainly, if we want to work back some of these learnings into our broader context, like a CEAB accredited engineering program, certainly, there are time horizons for us to do that piece of the work, but we can move very rapidly when it comes to these upskill training opportunities.
And what kind of companies are good candidates for these types of programs? What sectors do they come from? What industries do they come from? What's the culture of the company that makes a good partner for you?
I think what makes the best partners for us is someone who knows they have a business problem and they want to achieve that either through technology or through talent. And from what I understand in reading some of the reports that are out from the Ontario Chamber of Commerce, those are two of the leading challenges across all industries. So I'll just throw that out there as a place to start the conversation. What we're looking for is, if you know what your needs are, we can sit down and figure out how to carve out a solution with you. And that's what is really the largest imperative. In terms of where we're leading at Sheridan, we're leading in advanced manufacturing. And the ethos of that really means a couple of different things. If you're working in the advanced manufacturing sector and you're looking to augment your business or look at how you're going to compete with international markets, we have a whole host of technology solutions we can speak to you about, and that includes IoT, that includes performance maintenance, that includes AI-based solutions to try to look from an efficiency and from a technological perspective. And it may involve my team, through the Faculty of Applied Science and Technology. It may involve our Pilon School of Business and some of the work that they're doing in supply chain management or AI resources or data analytics. But we have those resources locally within the community to help support these initiatives for the business owners within our area.
And what's the general, I won't call it the gestation of the program, but what's the horizon that businesses are looking at? Are they looking at saying to you, Elizabeth, we need training for employees that are going to come on board in a year or 2 years? Or this is the kind of technology we're looking at. This is the skill set that we need in the next 3 to 5, 10 years. What's the horizon? What's the what's the longest horizon that you're looking at the moment?
The longest horizon? Well, we do have some regional employers who are larger, who are doing 3 to 5 year planning. And so from a length of horizon, I would say that's the longer horizon timeframe that we're looking at, David. But on a shorter horizon timeframe, we're working with a number of employers where we're making plans, a month to 2 months out, and then, 4 to 8 months out on larger prototyping opportunities. It really does depend on the extent of what the solution needs to look like. So as an example, if you need a simple AI efficiency kind of project that's a bit of a paper study, that's a pretty quick turnaround time. If you need us to pull in some of our capstone students to go and do a performance maintenance review of your facility, I may need to pull in different subject matter experts, and we may need to build out a phased plan for that. And so, coming from the manufacturing sector myself, really it is that agile approach where we're going to fit the solution to what the problem is. And sometimes, yes, that can be lengthy, but many solutions can be quite short. And one piece of information I'd love to share with your listeners, we know that only about 11% of the companies in the province have taken on these AI initiatives because a lot of times people aren't sure where to start. And so one of the calls to action I would just have, whether it's with Sheridan or another employer partner, is, think small first. Think about that first small project you want to try to just dip your toe into. And I think you'd be surprised at how much help we can offer at the college, that's cost-free or relatively inexpensive to start to address some of those, challenges that you might think, are things you want to tackle, but you're not exactly sure what that first step looks like.
If you're an employer and you are struggling finding great talent, or if you're an employer that has a specialized program and you need specialized training, give the dean a call, Dean Fabbroni at Sheridan College. Thanks to our guest, Elizabeth Fabbroni. Please give us a like to help us spread the word. And if you really like this, hit the subscribe button and get notified of other great videos just like this one. From MBOT TV, this is David Wojcik wishing you continued success in your business.